That's the liberal, secular, humanist
Yeah.
mindset. Cater to women that want abortions. Cater to them because they're making a loud noise. Cater to the alphabet community because they're making a loud noise. Cater to DEI because they're making a loud noise. Cater to BLM because they're making a loud noise. Cater to all these parties. Whoever makes the loudest noise is the one that the liberal, secular humanists are going to cater to.
Today's topic is going to be an eye-opener. I hope that people start realizing that our houses are actually burning down,
In the figurative sense.
in the figurative sense.
Not in the literal sense yet,
No.
but yes.
Picture wherever you actually live, South Africa, America, Europe, whatever. Picture that as a house. And you've got upstairs or downstairs in, like, let's say, the lounge, sitting room. There's a fire starting. Because you've got children in there making fires and doing all kinds of stuff. That fire is going to spread. Unless you go downstairs to that room and throw out the people that are making fires.
Mm-hmm.
And you lock your door.
Yeah.
To actually keep them outside your house. We've been hearing about, what's it? Islamophobia. There's a reason to be concerned. There's a reason to be afraid. It's a culture that does not sit with the Western mindset.
No, it's exactly the opposite, actually, yeah.
And we don't ask questions. They want to impose a law, force a law that we've got no understanding of. And then we get told that it's a law that is similar to ours. And it's a complete opposite. And there have been some people that have warned, but we get shouted down, we get told that we happen to be unreasonable. Are we really, though?
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about Sharia law and all the misconceptions behind it. Obviously, with the liberal, secular, humanistic media, it's portrayed as something that it's not.
Religion of peace.
And it's important that people get educated about what they claim to be activists of. It's all fine and well to say free Palestine. It's all fine and well to be an activist for something that doesn't necessarily directly interfere with your life. But then when you start advocating for laws and rules and regulations that you want to adopt that does affect your life, then it is a very different thing. It's all fine and well to talk about things that are half a world away and be an activist for things that don't really concern you, because obviously your lens is so biased to begin with, because all you've seen is mainstream media and they're questionable at best. But when you start wanting things that you don't understand,
Yeah.
that's when a prudent man or woman would want to do some research before you go ahead and say, yes, I want to adopt this. This seems better than the current system we have now. And we will see just how good the new system that some want to adopt actually is. So let's get into the video.
Hey folks, this is the other Barak coming to you live and direct from an undisclosed location. We have a video here which is a warning to Europe. And you know what? A warning to the whole world. Stick around for the whole thing. Let's talk about it after.
The other extremist groups, like the Muslim Brotherhood, who are friends with the IRGC and Hezbollah people, they cannot operate in Bahrain, in Oman. These are Muslim countries. Where do they operate? In London, in France, in Washington, D.C., in Australia, in Canada, Toronto. They operate here. They have bank accounts. They register charity. Right. So Macron, the president of France, recently said the Islamic world is in a crisis. I say, no, you are in a crisis. You went to the Muslim countries and you imported the garbage that the Muslim countries wanted to put in prison or isolate away from society. You went and you imported them. Why? For cheap labor. But these Islamist extremists, they don't want to work. They want free welfare. They want to marry French women, blonde hair, blue eyes. They don't have time to work. So look at Poland. They don't complain from Islamic extremism, not a single terrorist attack in Poland. The moment they sense there's a problem, they crack down on it. Polish policy, beautiful. The French, no, come. When they come, they use the resources. They go to Washington, D.C., and they sit in Congress. They support the Iranian regime. They go against the sanctions in Congress, right, with their hijab. Why? Because the ideology is filth, to begin with. When you import that, or you allow it in, or you amplify it, or you glorify it in any way, you make your bed, sleep in it. So that is also a problem of the West. The question is, Tina, did the extremists become stronger or the West become weaker? I say it's both.
It is both.
I also say it's both. I think the extremists have become stronger over time because they have been able to get more funding. They've been able to expand their tentacles across the Middle East and, of course, now internationally to the West. But I also think the West, they got dumber. The West has gotten dumber. They've been fooled, given the rise in extremism from these radical groups. So they both go hand in hand, which is why sometimes I really question, how is it possible to stop what is going on? Paterson, New Jersey, they want to implement Sharia law in Paterson, New Jersey. I went to college with somebody who transferred to go play basketball in Paterson. Dearborn, Michigan could very well turn into Sharia law. Canada, Toronto, these places, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not joking when I say that if you live there now, you might have a different reality in less than 10 years in how you are allowed to live and behave and what your day-to-day would look like because of religious, radical political ideologies stemming from radical Islam. And this is not in any way, shape, or form being an Islamophobe. It's so easy when people are sensitive. Just like he said, they show up with the hijab on, they play the part, and then when they get someone like me who is just speaking facts, I'm just speaking facts. I didn't say I'm anti-Islam. I didn't say I'm anti-Muslim. My best friend from high school is a Muslim person. I've been in his mosque, his family's mosque. I watched his cousin get married. I've broken the Ramadan fast at his house multiple years. He has been at my house to celebrate Passover multiple times. He has worn a yarmulke on his head multiple times. My parents have blessed him multiple times. Don't sit here and try to tell me that I'm anti-Muslim, that I'm Islamophobic. I'm going to a Muslim country by the end of 2025. Please tell me how many Jews are currently in Yemen. Please tell me how many Jews are currently in Libya. Please tell me how many Jews are currently in Lebanon, in Syria. Tell me. Now tell me how many Arabs live in Israel. How many? How many Jews live in America? How many Jews are there in the world? 15, 16 million? How many Muslims are there? And yet Jewish people, the Jewish race, the ethnicity should I say, in Israel is the ethnic supremacy. We're the ones taking over the world.
Yeah, come on.
What is Zionism spreading to Patterson, New Jersey? Is Zionism spreading to Toronto,
come on.
Canada? Is Zionism spreading to San Diego?
No, not so much.
It's absurd. It's insane. People want to look at the misinformation as their guiding factor of how they're going to make a decision based on who they want to vote for, cast their vote for in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. You know what you need to be looking at? You need to be looking at your day-to-day life and how that's going to change. That's what really matters the most.
Yeah.
Sorry. If Sharia law comes to Patterson, New Jersey, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a woman in Patterson, New Jersey, I'd get out of there right now if I were you.
With your
And
children.
if you don't know why, Google. Ask yourself why you think I'm making that suggestion. Then go find out for yourself. It's actually scary to think about it too. And I'll say this, Israel is the only place where being Jewish is not a liability. You can't stop saying that. Thank you so much for all your support. See you next time.
But yeah, I think people are advocating for something that they don't understand. And
Yeah.
it's just silly, you know. There's no need. And unfortunately, this liberal secular humanism that is most of Western governments these days somehow panders to the radical extremists, because it's out of fear, because it's the radical extremists are the ones that make the loudest noise. Liberal secular humanist ideology is we have to pander to the one that makes the biggest noise. Throughout history, Christians have never been the ones that make the biggest noise. So because Christians never make the biggest noise, we're incompatible with liberal secular humanism, because Christians generally have the ideology of, we'll just carry on doing our thing. Please don't get in our way. Would rather not have you get in our way from doing our thing. But it does seem that, unfortunately, because liberal secular humanist ideology has seeped into the church so much, the church has become soft. And because the church has become soft, the liberal secular humanists see that, and they see that we're quite easy to push over. So because we're quite easy to push over, they can say what they want about Christians. They can practice their Christophobia against us. And they know that we're not going to stand up.
Yeah.
Then you get the other side with all the Muslims and Islam that is now starting to dominate, because they make so much of a loud noise, and because their ideology is one of violence. The liberal secular humanists that are in power know this. So it's twofold really. It's cowardice, as well as it's the right thing to do to pander to people who make a noise. That's the liberal secular humanist mindset. Cater to women that want abortions. Cater to them because they're making a loud noise. Cater to the alphabet community because they're making a loud noise. Cater to DEI because they're making a loud noise. Cater to BLM because they're making a loud noise. Cater to all these parties. Whoever makes the loudest noise is the one that the liberal secular humanists are going to cater to. The problem is, you cater to too many loud noises, you'll start seeing that all those loud noises are in fact at odds with each other.
Yeah.
And this is where liberal secular humanist ideology, on paper it seems like it wants to be good to all people, which is kind of a Christian thing, I suppose, in a sense of wanting to attempt to make peace. But the problem is, when you're catering to all the loud noises and they're all at odds with each other, you're going to have a problem, because all of them have their own sub-ideologies that they adhere to, as opposed to Christianity, which has been practicing humanist ideology because it's in the Bible for thousands of years. The way we do it is you need to come to the standard first, the standard being the Word of God.
Yeah.
It's assimilate, and once assimilation has come into play, then you can start catering to people's squabbles and their disagreement, shall we say, because they've all come to the same standard. Once you come to the same standard, you can look at it objectively, because everybody's decided this is what we want above all. And we put aside all our wants and all our squabbles, because this is first and foremost. The Word of God is first and foremost. The teachings of Jesus are first and foremost. And then we can start practicing compromise.
Yeah.
All these other groups, all these other ideologies, they don't like the word compromise because they don't have a set of laws that they adhere to above all else.
Yeah, and their laws change the whole time.
Based on feeling, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's feeling, it's actually carnal. Whereas in the Bible, we sort of told to actually die to our feelings.
Yeah. Feelings are a secondary, and very non-important aspect of Christianity.
It is first the Word.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And it's, do we really understand what we are holding up so high? This absolute rot. It's not just your life, it's your neighbors, it's your family, it's your friends, it's, it's not just you.
Yeah, and that's the problem with the liberal secular humanists starting to cozy up to the idea of Sharia law.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's a good time to get into, what is Sharia law exactly?
And find out what it is.
Instead of talking about it. Okay, let's get to this first.
Because I haven't seen anything, and I'm sure that there may be something out there explaining it. But yeah.
Yeah, attempting to actually get to the actual nuts and bolts of what Sharia law is quite difficult. But fortunately we have found this. So there's a nice picture of a chopped off hand. That's great.
When I was a child, I got told, and that if you steal something in a Muslim country, they chop off your hand. We just knew it.
Yeah, I also got brought up knowing that.
Like, we just knew it, yeah.
Yeah. So Sharia law. Okay, so I'm just going to read. Here are some of the laws. I suppose this is not exhaustive, but this will give you a good idea of what the liberal secular humanists are desiring so much to
advocating
to have in their countries. So under Sharia law, theft is punishable by amputation of the hands, as you can see in that nice picture there. Criticizing or denying any part of the Quran is punishable by death. Criticizing Muhammad or denying that he is a prophet is punishable by death. Criticizing or denying Allah is punishable by death. A Muslim who becomes a non-Muslim is punishable by death. A Muslim who becomes a non-Muslim is, I read that before, a non-Muslim who leads a Muslim away from Islam is punishable by death. A Muslim man who marries a Muslim woman, a non-Muslim man who marries a Muslim woman is punishable by death. Homosexuality is punishable by death, but sodomizing boys is fine. Interesting. Girls' clitoris should be cut. Okay, that's crazy. Girls can be sodomized until and vaginally raped after 8 years of age. That's madness. A woman or girl who has been raped cannot testify in court against her rapist. That's great. Testimonies of 4 male witnesses are required to prove rape of a female. A woman or girl who alleges rape without producing 4 male witnesses is guilty of adultery. A woman or girl found guilty of adultery is punishable by death. A male convicted of rape can have his conviction dismissed by marrying his victim. Muslim men have sexual rights to any woman, girl not wearing the hijab. So much for women's rights. A woman can have 1 husband who can have up to 4 wives. So 1 of 4. A man can beat his wife for insubordination. A man can ultimately divorce his wife. A wife needs her husband's consent to divorce. A divorced wife loses custody of all children over 6 years of age or when they exceed it. A woman's testimony in court, allowed in property cases, carries half the weight of a man's. A female heir inherits half of what a male heir inherits. A woman cannot speak alone to a man who is not her husband or relative. Meat to eat must come from animals that have been sacrificed to Allah. Muslims should engage in taqiyya and lie to non-Muslims to advance Islam. The laws, but
I'm sure that there are more, but then it makes me wonder how many of these Muslim men have been raped when they were children by their fathers, by their uncles, by their neighbors.
yeah.
How many children have been raped? And that definitely messes up with your whole psyche.
And
That-
also, yeah.
That you've got nowhere to go for help, for love, for protection. Nowhere.
And while I was attempting to find these laws, trying to find them is so bloody difficult.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how people put it. They put it as it's considered. They always pander to it because they say these are only in the strict cases where these things are allowed. The problem is it's allowed nonetheless. According to the Quran, these things are allowed, but people pander to it by saying, yes, but these are only allowed in strict cases. The thing is, you'll never find that kind of stuff allowed in the Bible. If anything, the Bible is a thing that condones that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they make it out as if it's not that bad because those are only strict cases. The fact that it's allowed is what the problem is. You're attempting to now, you as a person that's grown up in the West, who's used to cultural Christianity and all the blessings that Christianity has given your country, you've grown up with that, and you've clearly grown bored of it.
Yeah.
So now you want to say, let's try something new. I want harsher rules. I want more regulations. I want to be treated like a second-class citizen. Unfortunately, their website didn't even get into the fact that Christians are seen as dhimmis, which is a second-class citizen under Sharia law. So for all the Christians that are out there, should Sharia law come to your land, come to your country and be enforced, you are going to have to pay jizya,
Yeah, a tax.
which is a tax on Christians for
Extra tax,
not becoming Muslim.
Yes.
You're not allowed to meet at churches. Churches are forbidden. You're not allowed to pray in public.
Yeah. And if you're caught witnessing, well...
Well, they did say, they're punishable by death for
Yes,
non-Muslims
yes.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, when are we going to wake up? When?
Yeah.
And, I mean, for churches to lock their doors and hide away, and for the pastors to go and tell their people to go and witness, you've got to use wisdom here. You have to use wisdom. Like, you don't get churches sending people out to the Gaza Strip.
No.
Like, yes, there are some that go there to help. Is there? I just know that it's the UN,
Yeah.
but they all together in that whole thing anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is Sharia law. We'll see you guys on the next one.